Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for National Association of Realtors, put out this statement earlier about what's happening with the housing market. I'm going to go over it real quick. So long and short of this, over the past 2 years, we've seen a tough real estate market, but there's hope on the horizon, according to Lawrence Yun, chief economist of the National Association of Realtors. Here's what is coming. Home sales are projected to rise by 9% in 2025 and by 13% in 2026 for existing homes. Now, we're going to talk about in a second the Realtor.com article that just came out, kind of saying the same thing. So we'll go over that in a second, and then we'll talk about the Austin housing market. New home sales are expected to jump to 11 and 8% over the same years. Mortgage rates will stabilize, though they'll remain higher than record lows seen over the last few years. Moderate home price growth. Median home prices are forecasted to increase 2% annually, keeping pace with wages. But here's what's really interesting that I saw that he said. All cash buyers are surging now, making 26% of the sales. First-time home buyers are older than ever, with a median age of 38, and many relying on gift loans and inheritance to afford down payments, which I think you and I could talk about that. I feel like a lot of buyers have benefited from that, and not just the last 2 years. Multi-generational homes are at an all-time high, with families combining incomes to buy homes that suit their needs. Single women buyers continue to outpace single men in the market, reflecting shifting demographics. The housing market is also shaped up by life milestones, meaning that people have been locked in to their rates. And so now that they've been locked into the rates with a under 4% interest rate, you're going to see more people having to make life moves. What are your thoughts on this? And you in the comment section as well. What are your thoughts on Lawrence Yun's take on what's going to happen in 25, 26, he's saying that home sales are going to jump 9%, and then we'll get into the Realtor.com article.
I think I'm with him, whether it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I don't think that we know overall. I think we're going to have fluctuations during the year. It has to go up. I mean, the sales have to at least keep the same or go up from last year. Last year was abysmal in terms of sales. I think a lot of, homeowners were very discouraged watching the market deteriorate. At least in Austin, they were that way, watching the market deteriorate under their feet and feeling like they're making decisions 2 and 3 months, in the past, basically. So, and most of the clients I worked with weren't willing to face the reality of the time of the market at that time. I don't feel that way anymore. I just feel like that there's not a lot of pressure from buyers, both on residential and commercial front, to make decisions at the moment, because things are probably going to be the same as they were now, as they are in January, as they are probably in February. And they don't feel that pressure to buy, that they feel like they can just kind of come into the market as they please. One of the things that you had mentioned in that article that I actually had heard a couple of weeks ago, and it struck me pretty hard, was that the average age of the first-time homebuyer went to 38 years old. That's up from 33 years old a couple of years ago. Yeah, but that's for the first-time homebuyer. The average age of the homebuyer in the U.S. is actually 56. So if you look at not just first-time homebuyers, but all home sales, the average age is 56. So it does make me also, just as an agent remark to other agents out there, when you're doing your marketing, I'm not saying don't market to, Gen Z for home buyers, but, they're obviously many standard deviations away from the median age of the home buyer. So, my personal marketing strategy is going to be more towards media channels that reach those age groups this year, instead of maybe a lot younger groups. Not that I don't work with younger groups, but the reality is the numbers just aren't in that favor. And by the way, that's up to 56 from 49 in 2023. Yeah. So the average age increased by 9 years in 1 year. I think that's a very telling statistic.
Well, let's dive into the reasons why maybe the average age has gone from 33 to 38. Or, average first-time home buyer has gone from 33 to 38. and why the average buyer has gone from 49 to 56. Look, a majority of the buyers out there over the last 2 years have been cash buyers. That's what it just said in this article. Okay. So who are going to be cash buyers? They're typically not going to be your 33-year-old that's starting a family. In fact, my videographer, who I was just with yesterday, he was like, yeah, all my millennial friends are, he's around 30. He's got all my millennial friends are like trying to figure out how to buy houses right now, and they don't know how to do it. They don't even know if they should do it. They're worried about rates. And he's like, working with you, I understand that rates, we can work on rates, we can work on things, we can do different things, and not enough millennial buyers know that. Do you think a lot of it has to do with, people in the media saying, oh, this is a terrible time to buy? So those people who are being pinched right now with the economy, with things, are just saying, hey, look, it's not time to buy, and pushing that out. And then a lot of it has to do with, realistically, that the people that could have afforded over the last 2 years are people that were paying cash.
Yeah, I just think that it's not that it's over. I don't think that that's a trend that, it's a lagging trend that we look at, that looks at just and explains kind of what happened in the last couple of years. So it's easy to put inferences together based on that specific data and say, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know that tells you, like I said, it'd be sense for me, the ability to manage my marketing plan a little bit better. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to be affordable. I do see, like, for example, prices in Kyle and Buda coming down. Brand new construction you can get now for under $300,000 again, and it's new, Lennar homes and some other decent ones. I'm not saying Lennar is actually like a super quality brand, but there are other budget builders that are offering homes for well under 300,000 right now in Kyle and Buda. And so I'm excited about that prospect, because that is more of an approachable price point for somebody that does have a couple of years of work under their belt and actually can, would rather be buying instead of renting. The problem is that rental prices are so cheap right now in Austin because of the overbuild and people waiting. It's really, really hard to look at that and say, I'm willing to buy a home in a 2.5%, 3% tax rate community when I can just rent the same home for about $1,000 to $1,200 less per month. So, I think that's a big challenge. But like I said, I think it'll come back around, and I think younger buyers will be able to look at this once they can figure out where they want to be. Also, it's telling, because I don't know that it's very clear where people want to be at the moment. There's been so much volatility in the major markets like Austin, Phoenix, Denver, Tampa, Las Vegas. There's been a lot of volatility in those markets. So the prices have been very, very high. I still think people want to be there, but I don't know that they're ready to commit to that yet. But I also don't think they're ready to commit to mid markets like Charlotte again, or, Raleigh, Durham, or things like that, because I think the cheap housing is great, but if you've experienced the city, I think that you'll essentially be looking for a bit more.
Yeah. Well, too, like, let's think of what happened from 2020 to 2024, right? We had, a pandemic where people ended up working from home, right? So you had more people buying or in those 2 years to work from home, then prices escalated, and now they're having to move back. So a lot of those people have been selling to move back or move different markets, and maybe they're not rebuying, because you're right, it is cheaper in some of these markets to rent. So that could be a lot of it too, why you're seeing the age creep. And again, it's expensive. So those people that are starting life, also people are starting life later. I feel like I started, having kids at 30. I talked to a lot of people who are having kids at like 36, 37. And so, that time that you're starting to have kids is when you start thinking about, oh, I need a house. I need to buy a home. I need a place to live. And so you could just see people later in life finally deciding as well. So, I think there's a lot of different reasons for it, but that is a concern that the average age is higher. And then more of that age group are still having to actually go and get help, right? They're having to get down payment from their parents. They're having to have them co-sign as a non-owner occupant, things like that. When, you're right, there are in the Austin area, I just did a video I put on Instagram, I think I put on YouTube as well, talking about the 5 most affordable areas around Austin, and Gerald was the most affordable at $280,000. Buddy, I bought my first house in Austin for $275,000, and that was 2000
in Austin.
In Austin, 2013. I've done nothing but move up, move up, move up, move up, and that's what I was discussing with my videographer yesterday. Was like, he's like, yeah, I want to buy a house and then move up and then move up and then move up and do what you did, but I don't even know that I can do that. And we sat down and broke down the ways he could do that. So,
how old were you when you bought? Was that your first house when you bought the one in Austin?
No, I bought my first house at 29.
And okay, and that that's pretty young still, honestly.
Thanks for watching this short of the Real Migos podcast. Hey, if you want to see more videos from Real Migos, click here. If you want to watch my main channel, Jeremy Knight, Moving Austin Realtor, right here. We'll see you on the next Real Migos every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Central.